Aristotle claimed that we need true friendship if we're going to experience human happiness, that it's critical that we have friends if we're going to truly flourish. We weren't meant to journey alone. We need community. But what kinds of friends do we need? And how do we find them? How can we experience friendship at a deep enough level that loneliness is dispelled? It's easier said than done. C.S. Lewis wrote that friendship is that moment when we say, "What? You too? I thought I was the only one." And this is a lot simpler to experience when you're in kindergarten and you're talking about your favorite ice cream flavor. But in a world rife with division and superficiality and distraction, it's difficult to find another whose heart beats for the same things that yours does. It's been said that friendship is an art. It's something that needs to be learned and practiced. And I don't think we usually think of friendship in that way, and we're more apt to think of it as something that we can just fall into and enjoy. And that may be the case for certain types of friendship, but not for the best kind. So thousands of years ago, Aristotle had some interesting insight into friendship, and it stood the test of time. He said that there are 3 types of friendship, which reveal 3 motives for being in the friendship. So let's call them the useful, the pleasurable, and the good. The first 2, the useful and the pleasurable, can be called accidental friendships. They just kind of happen. With the useful friendship, you give me something and I give you something, and this is a friendship of utility. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. It's advantageous for me to be friends with you, and so we're friends. So this is found in a lot of business relationships. You're useful to one another. But if you leave that business, you probably won't keep this friendship up because you're no longer useful to the friend and the friend is no longer useful to you. With the pleasurable friendship, you enjoy each other and you share common interests. So maybe you're on a sports team together or you're fans of the same sports team. So you're activity buddies. College students who love to go to the same bar are experiencing a friendship of pleasure, a pleasurable friendship. And this pleasure is based on a shared passion. But once you quit the sports team, or you finish college, or you move away, those things that you had in common might no longer tie you together. And as a result, those friendships of pleasure can easily end. And this is okay. Not all friendships are meant to last forever. It's about having a good time together, often for a certain season of life. And something, though, that the useful and the practical friendship have in common is what is absent in both, what is not there. And that is this. In neither of those types of friendship is the friend loved for her own sake. She's not loved because of who she is. She's loved because she's useful or because she helps make something more pleasurable. These friendships have their place, but it's important to recognize them for what they are, and they fall short of what full or true friendship is all about. The useful and the pleasurable friendships are often short-lived, and if this is the quality of all your friendships, you're probably feeling a little lonely, longing for something more. That being said, most friendships will fall into these categories. Very few make it to the 3rd level. But if you have a friendship that does, then that's one that's worth fighting and traveling for. The 3rd kind of friendship, the good, is one that is much more intentional. You decide you're going to have this kind of a friendship, and you invest time and effort to make it happen. These are the friendships that last. Maturity is required, and they are rare in high school. You're more likely to experience this in college and beyond. But regardless of when they take place, they require intentionality. A good friendship, which is real, complete, and authentic, is not asking the question, what's in this for me? You're not looking for what you can get out of the friendship. Now, this friendship will probably have its uses and its pleasures, but you are in this friendship because you desire the good of the other person. You want this other person to be the best version of herself that she can be. This kind of a friendship can form when you realize that you both want something out of life. You both see something as good, and you want to help each other to get there. This is a deeper friendship. This kind of a friendship is striving to bring out the best in each other. This is a friendship built on virtue. To really love another well in friendship does not mean constant, unreflected affirmation. There are times where we must challenge each other, continually trying to learn how to best hit the mark as a friend. And perhaps an illustration of what this might look like would be helpful. So let's say that you have identified a self-sabotaging behavior. Let's say it's your negative self-talk. Imagine that you've grown in your ability to recognize lies about your identity, and you're beginning to replace the lies with truth. You've realized that to do that, you need to reset your mind each day. You've decided to only allow your Creator to tell you who you are and what you're worth. But you have a friend, and she's got a totally different way of measuring her worth. For her, it has to do with how she performs, or how she dresses, or how well she is liked. She is defining success in a very different way than what you are saying you are endeavoring to do. You've decided that you want to live for an audience of one, but she is living for an audience of many. You hit a wall. You did well with your new habits for a while, but now you're starting to fall back into old behaviors, and so you turn to your friend. She says she wants what is best for you, but she lacks virtue where you need her to have it. You need her to say more than, "Don't be so down on yourself, I think you're fabulous." You need her to hold you accountable with the behaviors that keep you on track. You need her to preach the gospel of grace to you when you feel least deserving. But that's hard for her to do. Or say the self-sabotaging behavior you've recognized is your tendency to gossip or to overspend, or you drink too much to numb out your emotions. You need a friend who's pursuing good, healthy living, a virtuous life, to help you to resist the things that are going to drag you down. But if the very things that leave you feeling empty are the very things that bring you together in your friendship, well, it's just not going to become a full friendship. Take a minute to think about the friends you are investing in, the ones you are spending the most time with. Do your friends point you to the true, the good, and the beautiful, the things that you were created to long for? Do they point you to the only one who will make you truly happy? Or do they offer you cheap substitutes, all in the name of fun? Do you sense hungers in them that they don't recognize in themselves? It's interesting that saints almost always come in clusters. St. Francis had St. Clare. St. Perpetua had St. Felicity. St. Damien had St. Cosmas. St. Benedict had St. Scholastica. St. Ignatius had St. Francis Xavier. St. Augustine had St. Monica. St. Teresa of Jesus had St. John of the Cross. And I believe that they helped each other answer the key questions of life. They helped each other answer the questions: what is the meaning of our lives? Why are we here? What's our purpose? What is truly most important? What happens if we get these questions wrong? John Cutterbuck writes, "To live as though inferior things are the most important is to live a disordered life." The way your closest friends answer those questions will influence the way you answer them. Each and every one of us needs community. We were not meant to walk this path alone. One reason that I believe so many of us are lonely is because we all tend to limit our search for friends to people who look like us or seem like us. But when we do this, we miss out on the true richness of friendship. If we will look beyond age, marital status, and background, we're going to discover people who truly enrich our lives. Are there people in your life who could encourage you when lies or self-sabotaging behavior start to pop up in your life? What would a friendship mutually striving for spiritual maturity look like for you? Where might you find friends like these? It's worth contemplating where you spend the majority of your social time. Is it in settings where alcohol is the main focus, making deeper, authentic conversation unlikely? Perhaps there's a place where you could volunteer, and while serving, widen your circle to include other people who care about the same things you do. Would any of your hobbies or starting a new one offer opportunity to meet with other people pursuing the same activity? Finding and making good friends is not easy, and not every person you invest time in will end up going the distance with you. But this is an area of life where taking some risks can have tremendous reward. You were not created to journey alone.